Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of CK Stories from the Heart. There are moments in life when the heart speaks louder than anything else. And today, on this Mother's Day, my heart is speaking about a woman whose love shaped my entire world, my mother. Even though she's no longer here in the physical sense, her presence has never left me. Her voice still guides me. Her lessons still steady me. Her love still surrounds me. And her spirit still whispers in the quiet places of my life. Mother's Day is a celebration, yes, but for many of us, it is also a reflection, a remembering, a holding on to the pieces of love that time cannot erase. So today's episode is not just a tribute. It is a thank you, a moment of honor, a moment of truth, a moment of love for a woman who gave me life, shaped my character, and left fingerprints on my soul that will never fade. This is for my mother and every mother whose love continues to live through us. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to make this Mother's Day, which I like to say Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there, but also I like to just continue in making this tribute to my mother. She was born Mary Elizabeth King. She passed as Mary Elizabeth Pugh. In the beginnings of my life, um, I was born in 1966. My mother and I basically grew up together. Her birthday was January 20th. Yeah, so she was 15 years older than me, and I can tell you that, and not knowing in the beginning, you know, my mother and I grew up as very, very close, but also, having to be under the discipline primarily of my grandmother. She made a difference still in my life. As I remember growing up, and I think about all the things that we had the opportunity to do together, and I got to learn from her experiences. The experiences were the things that really helped to contribute to the things that I do now, as I like to raise awareness in communities, build communities, and have a love for people. My mother and I, we pretty much were like best friends, and I could always think of how we would talk on the phone, laugh about TV shows, and just talk about things in general that you would want to have the great relationship that we had. You know, everything, nothing's ever perfect, but because nothing's ever perfect does not mean that there are issues and changes. Because I can always remember that if there was something that I was wrong at, or if there was something that we needed to talk about, we talked about it. And I can always think back to, being a young man growing up. And I think about the times where, as I was coming of age as a young adolescent, through middle school, through high school, and the things that I wanted to do, she always was trying to be as supportive of me as possible. I can think about all of the things that we actually had moments where when I was actually coming through high school, and there were things that I wanted that I weren't able to have, but it was also something that I was able to accept. And I can think of the many times that, throughout all those times that it was still good for life. I know wanting to play sports, you know, I played football, I played tennis, I ran track, and I still think that the support I had behind me was the best that I could get, and I'm very much so appreciative of that. I know that the love that she had for me was not unconventional, but it was one that leaned credence to the things that she knew were important to me and for me. We always, had the opportunity to chat about an enormous amount of things. And as I think about over time, that is from um, my entering college, leaving college, graduating, being as wanting to be as knowledgeable and as best as I can be through every degree program that I got. I can say she was very proud. I can think of when I gave her an autographed copy of my book, and she um, she was very, excuse me, I remember the moment that she got that autographed copy of my book. The pride that she had is never going to be forgotten. When she got that book, she cried, she hugged me, and she said how proud she was. That in itself meant more to me than I could ever imagine. This was about me being that person that I knew I had to be. It's because making people proud, making people happy is what my life is about. And I've got that character from her. And being born Charles Zachary King means that the only being the only king that's the king man that's left on the side of this family, that I have to carry this legacy. And this legacy is one of strength, resilience, and love. That's what I got from my mother. I have a couple of comments here. This is from Andre Monroe. Hello, how are you, sir? Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you. And It's Catherine Williams. Thank you for this coverage. Hey, thank you for being here. I appreciate you so much. And so again, as I was saying, you know, um, my mother, she was a very strong woman, and she did everything that she did based on what she knew, what needed to be done, and how she thought it needed to be done. I can appreciate that. And when I say I appreciate that, I really do appreciate that, because there's nothing like a mother's love. There's nothing like it. And I think of, for all the accomplishments that it took me a while to give myself credit for, that nothing will ever take the place of when she told me, as I say, when she got that book. She cried and she hugged me and told me how much she loved me and how proud she was. That meant everything in the world to me. It didn't stop from there, because, being the first in my family for a long time to go throughout schools, university programs, and get these different degrees, it meant that much to me, because the accomplishment is one thing, but it's the implementation that goes along with that. So we'll go back to what I'll just tell you. My mom was a preschool teacher, and she was a preschool teacher for more than 30 something years. And the work that she did and the impact that she had on all the kids that she taught, it showed throughout, because a lot of those kids not only remember her, but they would sometimes, some of them would come and see her and talk with her when she saw them, especially. And that in itself means that she made an impact. The impact that she made on my life was the thing that really, sets things apart for me, because I do know that being the person that has to carry on the legacy of the King name means more than anything to me. That standard is a high bar, and with that being the bar that's set, is the standard that will continue when we talk about being legacy driven, because she not only made the impact on me, it's the idea of knowing that once it's inside of you and you do those things that you need to do, it actually helps you to become a much better person. And let me give you an example of this. When we would laugh and talk on the phone, or else when I would go home and sit and visit with her, we would sit and we'd watch TV, we'd laugh, we'd eat, have a couple of drinks maybe, but we had bonding time. That bonding time was those things when we had, I call, our most really precise, intimate moments of mother and son, where we got the opportunity to talk about almost any and everything. Those are moments that I miss. I really do. And, it's those moments that you only miss when they're gone. But, as I continue to build and strive on the legacy that she left behind, of community. Community means everything. That's the message that I like to get out to everybody, because this comes from my mother. As you look at this face, we actually look like twins. You see me, you see her. And that's the spirit that brightens my life, keeps me strong, keeps me resilient, and also makes me want to continue the the message that she left and instilled in me. So another comment here from Minj Lee. Hello, how are you? Thanks for being here. I appreciate you for being a part of this live as well. And thank you um, for helping me to share this story. But, the message that she left is that I will always carry out. And that is, doing what you can do to help others, but also being that light for a lot of people that are in darkness. That's my whole purpose. But I got that from her. And so again, as I think back to as her being that preschool teacher that she was, working those hours that she did, watching her advance, and as she advanced and did the things that she did, I was really, really proud of her. I could sit back and I can watch, and I did watch the things that she did, on not understanding the whole story until I got older. Because, as we get older, hindsight is definitely 2020. And in that process, I think about what she will always tell me. And that is, you never mistreat a person. You never mistreat a person. But if you do, what's coming to you is what's going to come to you. I think about, as I left home when I joined the military, which was shocking at first, for my family, especially my mom. But, she always knew that I had that strength and resilience to make that path that I was taught. Between her and my grandmother, I tell you, my foundation was about as strong as it could ever be. And that also would include my mother's oldest sister, which was like, really, if you want to know the truth, it's basically like I had three mothers. And, I do know that that love and that bond was one that's real. It established something and put a fire in me that I will never let dim or go out. Because if I did, that means that I would not be doing the service that they instilled in me. So this fight that you see, it comes from not only my mother, but two other strong women that were a part of my life that build me to be this great man that I am today. I am proud to be Mary Elizabeth King's oldest son. I am proud to be a king, because being a king means legacy driven, means strength, and means going out there and helping those who don't know you help them, but you help them anyway. That's the love. That's the courage. These are the things that was instilled in me that I definitely would love to share. And I want you guys to know that without these women that have been a part of my life, I don't know what my life would have been like. I never sit back and ponder and wonder and wait and just think that if this could have happened, what would life have been like? I don't think like that. Because what I was dealt is what I was supposed to have. What this woman put inside of me is nothing but the fire that's going to make a difference. And I can think of the work that she did and why it was like that. So as I just think of, as times got bad, my mom was diagnosed with bone cancer. she went into the hospital to have a hip replacement. And when she went to have the hip replacement, they found an abnormality on the bone in her hip. After doing biopsies on that bone and doing tissue samples, they discovered that she had bone cancer. And at that point, she would never say how bad it was or if it was bad at all. But she was trying to deal with that situation. I was there. I made the trek here from Atlanta over to Mobile several times to be with her in the beginning. So it got better, and I didn't have to do that. And it just got to the point that it got aggressive. Then it was not aggressive. It was like totally like just dormant, and it made an impact on her life. But the impact that it made, well, are the things that was going on with that situation is she tried to fight this with as much strength as she possibly could, because she did not let that impact her living her life. She lived her life. She continued throughout that, and she battled that pain. Despite, what I may have thought, she did what she had to do. It didn't take away the love. It didn't take away the care. Because when it comes down to it, she was a fighter. She was a fighter. These were the things that, it got to a point that, I really didn't know exactly what was happening. I talked with her doctor, and, he assured me that, things were going well and everything was well, and, she didn't have to worry so much. So there came a point at some point in 2024, around the beginning of the year, January 2024. She called me to tell me that that the doctor called her to say that the cancer had returned, and it was really, really aggressive. And it started to cause her many, many issues and problems. And so I wanted her to take it a little bit easy and to not overdo it. Don't overstress yourself. Just relax. But she still wanted to live her life. She still continued the activities that she was doing. That is, whatever it was that she wanted to do, she did that. I was concerned, but I was also very, very happy, because when I look at her, I look at the strength that she was trying to display. But things didn't sit well with me, but I just went with her wishes, what she wanted. So as we get to this point, she had got down, and when she got down, she was, some of the fight was leaving, but she was still fighting, and she fought. That she did. But she relied on family that was there, and things didn't turn out so well. They didn't turn out so well. They caused her, just a lot of things that transpired. Things could have been better. The easement could have been a little bit better, but the support was not there. And I was over here in Atlanta Metro Atlanta, and was not able to make it to her on a weekly basis. That in itself was not a really good thing for me, but it was something that I had to accept because, hey, you can only do what you can do, but you try to move heaven and earth, and sometimes you still come up short. So, as we get through to the wonderful month of June, and my mother really got down, with her health, where things really, really got bad. I had no idea that things were this bad. I had no idea that she was at the brink of elimination. On the horrific day of June 30th, 2024, my mother passed. And that was a time, a date that I will never, ever forget. It's ingrained in my mind and my vision forever. When she passed, I was there, and just to see that strength that she had, and she could not fight it anymore, that was a time that truly, truly was something that I tried to stay strong for. But in my moments of being alone, that's either here in my office or sometimes when I just want a quiet space. When I think of that moment, I always think, what could I have done different? I know that that's something that I could do nothing about, but I always wish that if there's anything that I could do to make a difference, I want to always try. But there was nothing I could do. There was nothing I could do. And to be vulnerable at that moment was where I had to be my strongest. I had to be, because I know that if this was the end, I've got to keep the fight going. And so, as my mother passed, and I sat there and I looked at her, and I just had to say, I said to myself, I got this. I got this. But there's never a moment since that day of June 30th, 2024, there's never been a day that in my quiet time that I don't think about that and what that pain is like. I'm sure that I'm not the only one that's lost a parent, but it's one of those things where we always think that we could do a whole lot more. I honestly wish that there was something else I could have done. I wish that it could have been me in her place. It's just one of those things that's a whole lot. And that kind of pressure, I will tell you, that kind of pressure is one of those things that, you either got to sink or swim. I had to swim, but also at the same time, I keep carrying that moment. My time for grieving it's probably going to be an always thing for me, because as I sit back and I look at pictures of me and her, or just pictures of her, I remember where each and every last one of those places were when we took these pictures. This is a love, and we all have love for our mothers. This day is a day that's supposed to be totally, totally special, and it is. But there's also some things that, we have to actually make sure that we're here to do what we have to do and why we have to do them. So as I continue this reflection, I want y'all to know one thing, that when it comes to just memories and people that you love, you got to remember that if you love these people, make sure that you show them that you love them. Make sure that you do that, because that disconnect from your mother is something that you feel forever and ever, because she's always going to be that person that you'll never forget. And as I sit here this moment, I'm doing this because I honestly just wanted to be known that love is love. And for me, being the firstborn, it means one thing for me. It means that if there's anybody that can do what she did and do what she wants to be done, it has to be me. And so as I'm doing this, I want to thank each and every last one of you for being here. But before I continue, I want to do this reflection for all the other mothers that are out there, that are still alive, or the ones that have passed. When a mother passes, something shifts inside you. The world feels different. The air feels different. Even the silence feels different. But so does the love, because the mother's love doesn't end, it transforms. It becomes memory, it becomes wisdom, it becomes strength, it becomes the quiet push that gets you through days you didn't think you could handle. And for anyone listening today who has lost their mother, I see you, I feel you, and I honor your journey. May today remind you that love is eternal, and that the bond between a mother and a child is something even time cannot break. And it definitely does not break mine, because I love my mom and I always love her. But in the whole process, you sit here, this is a time where being vulnerable doesn't really matter to me, because when I want to talk about this love, actually, this is the first time I'm actually having the opportunity to chat about this, because I didn't properly grieve, but also at the same time is erupting, because I wanted to be known that my mother was all that to me. She was all that to me. She was all that. But she knows as well that what we have actually had the opportunity to talk about, laugh about, love about, and try to make differences, I learned from her. That's why I'm here today. And even though that day is coming up, June 30th, as that one time that that we can actually do what we need to do. But I love her, and that's all I can say. And I will tell you that as we continue to work here at this at our media outlet and doing the things that we're doing, I want you to know that everything is authentic. Being authentic is what it's all about, and we have to be. We have to be, because my love, her love, your love, we're all connected. And I want to thank you all for being here. I could say a whole lot more, but I just want you guys to know that I definitely got to have some silence here because there's so much that's going on inside of me right now that I really, I've got to let me end this with this closing monologue, and that is, as we close today's reflection, I want to leave you with this truth: a mother's love is not measured by years; it's measured by impact, by the way she shaped your heart, by the way she taught you love, by the way she still lives in your decisions, your compassions, your strength, and your spirit. My mother may not be here physically, but she is with me every step I take. And if your mother has passed on, she is with you too in the ways that matter most. So today, let us honor them. Let us speak their names. Let us remember their laughter, their lessons, their sacrifices, and their love. And let us carry them forward with grace. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers here, gone, and forever in our hearts. Hey, I want to thank you guys for being here. I'm sorry that I have to cut this short, but I want to thank you all for being here anyway. And let me let me take a little bit more time because this was a whole lot more than I thought it was going to be. It really is. And I'm trying to handle that. So thank you all. I'll see you guys next Sunday on CK Stories from the Heart. We will have a special guest for you guys, and we'll definitely put that out. Thank you again.